All right, everybody, it's the Wake Up Crew. We are back, and we are going to start this show off by asking a simple question. Raise your hand if you were burned by Bruce Brown last night. Everybody in the betting space, raise your damn hand. I don't care if it was the points, the par, the rebounds, the fantasy score. Hell, if they would have had an over-under minutes projection, we all would have lost money. Bruce Brown, the gift that destroyed us all, 24 minutes, 2 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists on 3 shots as the Brooklyn Nets were swept. Kevin Durant, YOLO mode, Kyrie Irving passive early, Seth Curry goes berserk, and Bruce Brown let every last one of us down. What can you say? Bruce Brown stunk it up. I did talk about Jason Tatum and Marcus Smart in the comments yesterday. Jason Tatum did go under his fantasy score. He fouled out, but before that, he still was pacing to go under. He played well, but did at least that hit. Marcus Smart completely destroyed his fantasy score. I think it was set at 29. He hit 41. Pascal Siakam, fantasy score was 44. Jay, you want to know what Pascal had? You know what he had?
He must have had 58 or something. He had a great
43.5. So what a bad beat with Pascal Siakam. Yeah, he didn't have any kind of blocks or steals in that one.
Oh,
so
man. Yeah,
44 was the fantasy. 44 was the fantasy score. He had 43.5. And you were right. Joel Embiid did not cash anything. Joel Embiid, I trusted the process, and the process let me down. But we are back to talk about some picks. We got Minnesota versus Memphis tonight. We have Atlanta versus the Miami Heat. And do we have a third game? Is it those two? Oh, Phoenix and New Orleans. Back in New Orleans.
Yes.
So we'll talk about some plays that we like. Time to talk about the games right now.
For all the high-flying action, take a step back and relax. It's time to count that money, the NBA props. No look any further. You know what time it is. Presented by PrizePicks, NBA props. Let's
count that money, man. All right, Jay, we're going to kick it off. Where do you want to start off with the slate tonight?
I'm starting with Trae Young. I love Trae Young. He's one of the most talented players in the NBA. But I literally saw a tweet talking about Trae Young is in hell right now. He gets brought up full court with PJ Tucker. They switch to Bam Adebayo, and then they switch again to Jimmy Butler. He has no hope in this series. The Atlanta Hawks have no hope. They're playing in Miami tonight. His over-unders, you have to bet the unders on almost all of them. The one I like the most is the assists. It's set at 8 right now. It should be 8.5, but it's at 8. In my opinion, the best you're looking at for Trae Young is a push. And in my opinion, in a closeout game, I think he's going to shoot more. And so for that reason, I'm going to be taking the under on his assists. He's averaging 6.5 against Miami. He's coming off a game where he only had 3 assists. He's chucking it up. He's missing. There's nothing this guy can do. So for me, I got to take the under on his assists. And I think at the highest end, you're getting a push. And he's probably going to go under. You see 5, 8, 7, and 4. I'm going under on Trae Young. Yeah. He's a great player, but he is not going to be able to get it done against Miami. They're just too strong, and that's the reason why I just can't do it. If you want the under on the points, I get it, but there's always the chance he gets hot from 3, and that's why I think that there's a better number on the assists, and that's why I'm going that direction. Ray, where are you at with Trae Young? Are you with me on the under at 8? Because it's so low. This is a guy we've seen at 11 and 11.5 assists, 10 assists, but he's at 8, and Miami is just killing him right now.
It is low, man, and we've run the projections, and I'm just, being transparent, Jay. The projections do have Trae Young right now. When we're looking at his points, his rebounds, and assists, we do have projected a little bit higher than 8, But for me, I'm with you. I saw a clip from the game, man, where they had Bam on him. He switched to Jimmy Butler, then he was switched to somebody. It's just the way that they're defending him. It's very reminiscent of what the Boston Celtics were doing with Kevin Durant, just making life hell. The only thing that scares me a little bit is Clint Capella was back last game, didn't play a ton, but lobs being down low, maybe he can get a couple of cheap assists. I'd be monitoring the Capella situation. I don't know if there was a setback or if he's clear to go. If he's clear to go, I think it helps Trae Young out a little bit. Second chance opportunities, potentially getting him into that point total. So something that I'm going to stay away from, but I did run the numbers, and I'm waiting for PrizePicks to drop his fantasy score because that's what I want to take the under on is Trae Young's fantasy score. I think that tough defense from Miami is going to force him into some turnover situations. And if he doesn't hit this assist number, rebounds isn't really a strong suit. I will be looking at the line for fantasy score for Trae Young. But somebody that I really, really want to talk about, and I'm just going to stay in the flames. I'm going to the late game, and I want to talk about Brandon Ingram. His par is set at 38.5. He has hit this number in his last 3 games, right? 39, 43, 57. The only game in the series that he didn't go over this points, rebounds, and assists number was game 1. Brandon Ingram has been cooking, Jay. And right now, based on our projection model, we have Brandon Ingram projected at a fantasy score of 43.03. I want to see what the line opens up at. I think our projection model is pretty good. So if it's a little bit under this, if it's around 40, last game I believe it was 42, I'll consider taking the over on Brandon Ingram. If it's right at 42, we got him projected at 43. I might no bet that bad boy. We've got Jonas Valanciunas projected for 33 fantasy score as well. And right now on PrizePicks, the par line is at 31.5. So I'm anticipating his fantasy score line to come in probably a couple of points higher than this. So I'll be looking at BI, Valanciunas, and again, CJ McCollum. These three have just been money. CJ McCollum, we haven't projected a fantasy score of 41.85. Last game, it was at 42. He did not hit that number, so maybe PrizePicks drops his line back down to 40. If it's around 40 for CJ McCollum, I'll be interested in that as well. So I just want to talk about the trio of Pelicans, BI, Valanciunas, and CJ McCollum. Whoever has the lowest fantasy score, I'll run that, see what the edge is, but I definitely want to target one of these 3 players because the offense is flowing through these 3 guys. Game is back in Phoenix. I expect Chris Paul to play a lot better than he did last game, so I will be watching and monitoring the fantasy scores of Brandon Ingram, Valanciunas, and CJ McCollum.
Yeah, man, I like it. And to your point, I do like BI's points as well. Ingram finally realized there's not really anybody on Phoenix who can stop him, and so he's taking advantage of that overall. And like you talked about with McCollum, he's not going to have 2 bad games in a row. So for me, I like that number as well. Brandon Ingram's is 26.5, a little bit higher. On the books, you see it at 26.5 or 27.5. So again, he's probably going to go over, and I think that in a game that they really need to win on the road, it'll be a lot of BI and a lot of McCollum, like you said, and we'll see kind of how JV ultimately comes into the fold. 18 points last game is an anomaly for McCollum. He knows he has to play better than that, and I fully expect him to in this one. But the guy that I'm targeting is still actually back in Miami, and it's PJ Tucker over his par of 15.5. In this series, he's done it in 3 or 4 games with 22, 22, and 25. He did have 1 dud where he only had 11. And on top of that, he's been shooting very well. He's been shooting over 60% in this series because he's always open. No one ever focuses on him. He takes threes from the corner, and he's averaging 11 points per game. On top of that, he's had 5 rebounds in every single game, and he's had an assist in every game. So if you just take all that together, 11 points, 5 rebounds a game, and 1 assist a game, that's a par of 17. So all he has to do is just kind of be average, be doing what he's been doing, and he'll be going over. So for me, I think it's a great play. PJ Tucker taking Trae Young up full court, playing great in this series, shooting particularly well, and he's getting more rebounds and assists in the more recent games as well. So for me, I think this is a number he could easily hit 20 again. He's hit 23 times in this series, and for some reason his line is still at 15.5. So I'm going to be targeting that because I think he's doing a bit more and Bam is doing a little bit less in this series, and that's what's causing Tucker to get more rebounds and be more effective on offense.
Yeah, that's a good one. I'll be watching PJ Tucker's fantasy score line as well because, like you said, he's doing a little bit more. And Bam Adebayo's doing a little bit less. PJ Tucker's been solid on the offensive end. He's doing it on both ends of the court. So I'll be interested to see what Tucker's fantasy score line is. We do have him projected for a steal in this game, right? 1 steal and about a quarter block. So if you can get that, that fantasy score potentially sub 20, I would definitely be in on PJ Tucker. I do want to talk about my last player that I'll be waiting for that fantasy score to drop, and that's Jimmy Butler. Right now, we've got him projected for 24.1 points, 6.3 rebounds, and 5.5 assists for a par right underneath 36. We've got him projected for almost 2 steals and half a block in this matchup, which puts his fantasy score at 44.7. Jimmy Butler absolutely went nuts last game, right? He had a 50 par, but his fantasy score was well over 60 in that matchup. This is one, Jimmy Butler is taking this over. Kyle Lowry's still a little bit hampered, right? I'm really digging what Jimmy Butler's laying down. And right now, just talked about it. Right now, we do have his par projected, his fantasy score projected at 44. Last game, Jimmy Butler's fantasy score, I believe, was 40 or 41. So if it's anywhere in that range with a 3-point edge to the over, I will be targeting one Jimmy Butler. I'm just going to click the par here, but watching the fantasy score for a Jimmy Butler over. Thing is, we like these fantasy score plays, but PrizePicks doesn't drop it to us early. We got to wait a little bit. So what you have to do is make sure you subscribe to the channel. Go back to the channel probably about an hour before tip-off, and we'll throw some plays in there that we're looking at. But, Jay, so you're rolling with that Miami-Atlanta game. You don't want to touch. I just got to ask, man. Cat, Jekyll and Hyde. I want to touch Karl Anthony Towns so bad, man, because when he decides to be dominant, right? When he decides to be dominant, there's nobody on Memphis that can handle him down low, and then he can't shoot the ball outside. But, man, he's so Jekyll and Hyde, man. You go with Cat, and the first 2 minutes he'll have 3 damn fouls, and then he gives you 8. You saw him give you 15. It's like, it's truly, there's the variant swing of Karl Anthony Towns is all over the damn place. Just want to talk about it. Anybody from that Minnesota-Memphis game, Ja, Towns, Anthony Edwards, D'Angelo Russell, Patrick Beverley, Dylan Brooks, anybody that you like in that matchup?
So I want to touch on Cat quickly because I think you're right. The problem is that we don't know which one's going to show up, and I think the same case can be made for Jaren Jackson. Jaren Jackson's another guy. I was like, his points under should be free money, and it's now at 12.5. It was at 13.5 earlier this morning when I was looking at it. 7 last game, 6 the game before. He put up 16 one game, but for the most part in this series, he's been going under. He's not playing well. He's in tons of foul trouble because he tries to block every single shot. So for me, that's the biggest issue here. Now, other guys, Dylan Brooks, we talked about fire and ice with him. D'Angelo Russell, I like an under. I think this could be an Anthony Edwards game, but I feel like I've been saying that for so long. So I think I'm just going to stay away from most of those guys today.
Yeah, Anthony Edwards, and real quick, I'll just throw it out there, and we'll see how good our projection model is just to see. Anthony Edwards, we have him projected at 40.25 fantasy score, and D'Angelo Russell, we have him at 32.7 fantasy score. Dylan Brooks, 30.92, and Patrick Beverley at 29.13. We'll see how good these are. I think they're pretty close, pretty accurate. Nailed a couple yesterday. But as always, we appreciate you tapping in. Good luck if you make some of these plays, make some of these bets, put it in, use the promo code WAKEUP to get $100 free. Appreciate y'all tapping in. We'll be back tomorrow to talk more NBA prop bets. We out.